All right, so there's a war on, and there's also a, a war within a war going on. And I've told you that I'm going to stick to investing, trading, stocks, and leave foreign policy and all of those things for other folks. There's a lot of coverage out there, and I'm sure you can get those points of view. But I want to talk about some of the stuff that's less discussed. I mean, all right, let's just get right down to it, right? Okay, so Russia invaded Ukraine, and since then, there's been this very, very big move by the United States, Europe, Japan, pretty much every country around the world to essentially shut down all of the financial pipelines into Russia. And many people might just look and say, well, Paul, yeah, that's sanctions. And I'm not talking about approving or disapproving of it. I'm just thinking from the perspective that Russia had planned to sort of get through this period by using its international reserves. From everything that I read, it said that they had $630 billion in a mix of dollars, euros, yen, Chinese currency, gold. And as a result of all the sanctions, for the most part, they can't use any of it. And they can no longer transact on MasterCard and Visa. That was announced this morning. They can marginally transact using the SWIFT system, which has gotten a lot of publicity. For those folks who don't know, the SWIFT system is something that is used to transfer money between banks. It's also used by businesses and even some number of individuals moving a large amount of money. And that it has been focused on. However, on a like a 10-foot, well, not 10-foot, but 100-foot level, actually 1,000-foot level, when you look at this, Russia is disconnected from the world now. I mean, you can not really move money in the way that most people can using wires or transfers or any kind. And it does make you look at that and think, well, the folks there that have money are not going to sit still. They're definitely going to do something. And that something is definitely going to be to use the other way, which is crypto. And sure enough, yesterday, as these sanctions began to hit, the price of Bitcoin just suddenly jumped, went from like $38,000 to about $45,000, like that. And there's reports, of course, of people standing in line in Russia to get their money out. And certainly for any number of countries, companies, organizations, people, if they're looking at what is going on in Russia and thinking, well, gosh, if this ever happened to my country where I am located, what would I do? I probably should think about this, because Russia's a big country and it's a powerful country. And they had accumulated a lot of money to try and get through this period when they were going to be at war. And yet all of that was completely canceled. I mean, as a result of the sanctions, I mean, there's overwhelming power that has come in. And one of the things that is going to happen is that people, countries, organizations, companies all around the world are going to see this as like, yeah, good from the perspective that, hey, we're doing something against a country that is attacking another one unprovoked. So good. However, I can tell you that everyone is also going to think like, well, what if that was us? What would we do? And their answer is going to be like, hey, let's buy some Bitcoin. Let's start to buy some Bitcoin, and let's start to look at crypto as a way to immunize ourselves from being subject to this kind of effect if all of the countries that run the current fiat-based financial system ever decided to cut us off, that we have options, that we can do something. And I know many people be like, well, Paul, that's terrible. These are criminals. These are people that want to do everything. I believe actually this is going to be a fairly mainstream thing. I believe that countries from as far as Australia, Canada, and others are going to say, it's like, hey, well, we do not control the largely US dollar-based fiat money transaction system. And we would like some insurance that, what if people were to cut us off? Or maybe what if, if that system got hacked? Maybe that system somehow, got messed up in some way, got caught up in other wars. What are our options? And the option is crypto. And I believe that people are going to begin to see this both as obviously a solution to a problem that exists. They're also going to see it obviously as a trade and as a speculation, and then as a long-term investment. And it's going to be on every level. It's going to be certainly at the highest level, on the country level, second level, companies, large organizations, people of varying wealth, small, large, very big, are going to see crypto now as a very, very appropriate place to start to allocate significant amounts of money that act as insurance against any number of possibilities. Obviously, something as dire as what is going on between Russia and Ukraine. However, it can be simpler things, such as a number of banks being taken offline as a result of a hacking attack. Perhaps some interregional rivalry that causes someone to shut somebody down. And crypto offers a way to keep your financial system up, to keep money flowing through. And so I believe what we're going to see is that in the next days and weeks, you're going to start to see some surprises as countries start to legitimize crypto in a significant way, either accepting them as legal tender or passing laws making them specifically legal. Other countries indicating that they are planning to or are buying crypto to add to their financial reserves. And companies starting to do that as well. And certainly pressure showing, particularly on the most liquid cryptocurrencies that are out there, which are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and as preposterous as it sounds, Dogecoin, because Dogecoin is very liquid. It is widely known and its price is very low. And so people's resistance to using it for everyday transactions is quite low. And also it has very low threshold. I mean, most governments would feel quite ridiculous to ban Dogecoin because it seems so innocent and so simple and cute. And that also allows for people to sort of buy it quite easily. And it could easily become a currency that is widely used. Now, I know some people say, well, Paul, that's ridiculous. This is a joke. It's a meme coin. Yeah, that's all true. Nonetheless, if you were to do a poll of just regular folks and say, hey, tell me if you know XYZ cryptocurrency. Do you know Bitcoin? My guess is a lot of people know Bitcoin. My best guess is that a lot of people know Ethereum. And I would say that a lot of people around the world, especially if they are younger, they know Doge, they know Dogecoin because of its logo, of the dog, of the fact that Elon Musk is associated with that. And that means that it's got a certain brand power around the world that people are going to, I believe, use to trust into and use as a currency because its price is quite low. So your barrier to wanting to use it is quite low, unlike Bitcoin, where there is a sort of higher barrier as people see this as something quite expensive. So bottom line to this is that I believe we're at a moment that is significant for the adoption of crypto. that this war, this crisis is really going to bring out, which is that people can see that the existing financial system is highly controlled, non-decentralized, and can be brought down and shut down by a number of authorities in a very coordinated way so as to effectively shut down an economy and a society. And it is in most people's interest to try and figure out like, hey, well, what if that were us? What if that were me? What if that happened to us? What would we do? And the answer today is quite clear. It's crypto. It's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, it's Dogecoin, it's any number of coins, as long as people are willing to accept it, as long as it's something that can be easily stored, and also something that is easily divisible. In other words, you can take small amounts and spend it. And this is the beauty of crypto. It is easily divisible. It is easily portable. I mean, people that are leaving Ukraine to go back to Western Europe can just carry value on a USB stick and simply keep it in their pocket, and nobody might really know to check. Or even if you did, you would not necessarily know that they were carrying value or how much. So it represents an answer to many, many questions and problems that people are likely to be dealing with at present. And that makes me bullish, optimistic, positive, BOP on the cryptocurrencies that we have in our Profits Unlimited portfolio. We know, you know, that we have been in Bitcoin for a long time, in Ethereum for a long time, and Doge since last year. And these have gone through an extraordinary amount of volatility as people have sort of fought over their legitimacy, their use, their adoption, their sensitivity to interest rates, their roles in societies. However, Ukraine is really acting like an accelerant, just like COVID did in 2020, to illustrate the value of a number of technologies. And crypto is really, in my opinion, really front and center right now with what is going on with the banking system and how big a part that is of this current war. So I would tell you that if you own Bitcoin and Ethereum and Doge in our portfolios, if you're subscribed to Crypto Flash Trader, which is run by my incredible colleague, Ian Dyer, look out, because I believe that we are setting up for a period where you're going to see a lot of money push in. That demand is right now going to face quite limited supply because of the fact that cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum really have been sold down. And in my judgment, my opinion, they're now being held by people that believe in it, that understand it, and they're not going to sell for cheap prices, which means we're setting up for a stage where fairly small amounts of demand could move it higher, but big demand is going to be a step function jump. And I've been out there saying that, hey, my price targets for Bitcoin for 2022 are $250,000. However, if a few countries, a couple of big countries came in, some big companies came in, I mean, it's going to be even higher than that, 300,000, 350,000. Why? It's just a matter of demand and supply. There's a limited number of Bitcoin. There's actually a limited number of Ethereum. And if a lot of people come in and want to buy it all at once, they're going to bid it higher. If they have no plans to sell it and they're planning to keep it as a permanent reserve, as their store of wealth that they will only sell small amounts of, that's going to keep those prices sustained at high levels. So I am very bullish, very optimistic, very positive on crypto. And I would tell you that if you own it, be strong hands. If you like this video, we'll come back next week and I'll have another one just like this one. Until then, this is Paul saying bye.